Welcome to Talk Purpose and Truth, shifting you into higher consciousness. A show that elevates, uplifts, and encourages listeners to grow, heal, awaken, and evolve. Eden and Kim include bold topics, interviews with inspiring guests, experts, and celebrities, intuitive readings, channeled messages, mental health awareness, and hot topics to expand your awareness. Tune in for unprecedented truth, authenticity, on-purpose discussions, and magical.
And so we all took Lisa, Huscher, Eden and I, and Missy, Fowler, who's been on our show, all took a trip to Mount Shasta in Northern California. And I found out about it through a client that went, through a friend, Yesenia, who went to Mount Shasta and was showing us pictures. And in the pictures, you could see all of these orbs and spirit guides and colors. And it was just really phenomenal. And she said, it's life-changing. You need to go. Mm-hmm. And that day I texted Lisa, Missy, and Eden. And somehow we all just kind of went, let's go, we're going. Yeah. And we booked it. And it was crazy because Lisa didn't yet even really know Eden or Missy. Mm-hmm. And so you're going to hear all about our trip. And so I just wanted to do that little intro. We did it without a guide. We all just went with our heart center and went with no attachments and just went, let's go on this 4-day trip and let our hearts lead us and see where we end up and what we end up doing.
And boy, did we end up doing some crazy things.
And I highly recommend it to you and anyone listening. And it's really not expensive to travel there from, at least from Southern California or Northern California. If you're coming from a state, it might be a little bit more, but it really wasn't an extremely pricey trip for the value we got out of it. Yeah. So Eden, you begin with our adventures, our spiritual quest that we went on.
Yeah. Okay. So we think that this is going to be fun for you guys to hear. Hopefully we're not wrong. Hopefully we're not going to bore you right now, but I mean, we got some really cool, crazy stories to tell. So when we first got there, we stayed in a house that was built in 1912, and it was right on the strip of, where the main part of the town is. And you've got restaurants and shops right there within walking, like a block away from us, walking distance. And just everything, the center of the town, all right there where we got to stay. And the house was very quaint. And we knew, because of the four of us, who the type of people we are, we're all very intuitive and connected, and we figured we were going to have lots of encounters that happened there. And we did. We
kept getting the word candy. Remember, we kept going, we're going to eat candy when we're there. Wait, I don't know why I keep getting the word candy. And I was even watching a show that week, and the guy on the show, it was that 70s show, and Wilmer Valderrama was obsessed with candy on the week I was watching the show. Like, really weird. Everything was candy, so we didn't know why.
Yes. And then Lisa, feel free to chime in. Lisa's here with us, by the way. She's
welcome back.
She's one of the ladies who came with us on the trip, and who we got to know a lot better on the trip. And now we're like so connected. It's great. Missy couldn't be here, by the way. She really wanted to be here, but she couldn't come. So we are going to kind of speak for her. Hopefully that works out. So the house, I think on our way there, I'm going to backtrack because we get off the plane, and we got to fly on the tiniest little plane. I think it was 52 seats. And that was an adventure. And Kim sat next to me, even though she wasn't supposed to. I had to pay for my good seat, and she didn't have to pay for her good seat because she cheated. She snuck up front with me. Anyway, so then we took a rental car, and about an hour drive to the house. So on the way, we were kind of like doing some research on the phone about the house. And then that's when, Kim, you can tell your story about the candy.
Well, I was when they sent me a text about the house and the history of the house, and it was built in 1912. And all of a sudden I'm like, and I'm like, you guys, No wonder, because Missy had been saying, like, okay, we have to go buy candy. We're supposed to eat candy. And we're like, okay, whatever. That's weird, you know? And they go, this house used to be a candy making house back in the early 1920s or 30s. And that strip of the whole town of downtown Mount Shasta was a candy store, candy factory. And the house was used, part of the house was used to make the candy. And then there was a fire in the house where a bunch of it was burned. And then they found like old broken pieces and melted glass bottles and things and kept it. And they basically rebuilt the half of the house that had been burned from the candy making factory. So we're like, no wonder we all kept getting candy. So that was already a weird
candy at the airport.
Yeah.
In LA.
Oh yeah.
The bag of candy that was individually wrapped, like Halloween candy, like chocolates, like a bag. And so I was handed out to all of you. Here, have candy. Here.
Yeah, she was trying to force candy in us before we got on the plane. Yeah,
a pusher, you know, remember? And
yeah.
then in the car, then we figured that out. I'm like, okay. That's why.
Yeah, that's why. And you know what I just thought of? I would think we're going to talk about it later, but remember the black thing on the ceiling?
Yeah, we're going to talk about it.
Of course, we remember it. We'll go back to it, but I just wanted to say, so I don't forget this. You talked about the candy factory. Maybe that was part of it.
Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, that's true. Maybe they kept it.
Yeah. Okay. You guys will know what we're talking about in a little bit. So we get there and there's 4 bedrooms in the house and 4 of us. So we each pick a room. And the way we usually operate is we go by our feelings, you know, vibrations, what we sense. And so each of us picked our rooms based on that.
I didn't pick my room. I got the crappy room.
She was the last one. I think I kept saying, you're the new friend, so you don't get to pick.
Oh, is that why? I thought I was just being nice, like I genuinely nice, like I am, like no one wanted the room, and I'm like, here, I'll take it. I'll take the dumpy room that smells. That no, it didn't smell, but like has the dead person in the closet and the bad vibes. Not a problem. I'll take it because I want to be liked by the group.
Yes, you want.
It worked, like
Yeah, but you didn't share with us until like I think it was the evening that you didn't feel good about that room. That's what I remember. I don't know.
She really quickly. She's like some things.
I don't know.
Anyways, I told Kim right away.
You did tell Kim, but I don't feel like I knew until later, like how serious that was. So, so we were all sitting around and later at night, and you decided you can't sleep in that room. And do you want to tell the story?
I had checked the closet for her, and it had a very weird vibe that night, at least.
Yeah.
And nowhere else in the house except that closet had that weird vibe. Yeah. And so Lisa's like, okay, I'm not imagining stuff. So then what did you do, Lisa, about your room?
Well, I think I immediately decided I couldn't do it, but I didn't verbalize it till later. So so I was kind of, as the time was going by, I started like, I was, like ruminating and kept thinking of like what's in there, like starting to panic a little bit. So then of course I make Kim, you go look, straight out of like the scary movie. You go in the closet, you go look. And I didn't even go in the room. I waited in the hallway while she went in the room and opened the door just in case if anybody was going to get like, it was going to be her because I was in the hallway.
Yeah, in case she got killed.
Yeah. And she said, oh yeah, there's something, so Kim agreed with me. But I'm like, I don't want to be the one complaining and all that. And that was when, I'm like, well, I like bunk beds, Eden, so I'll just come sleep in your room.
Yeah, so my room had like a double bed, and then over to the side, there was a bunk bed as well. So we decided that she was going to sleep in the bunk bed, and I would sleep in the bed. Okay. Wow.
So now, fast forward to the next morning. So we did go out. The town in downtown Shasta is amazing. Like we were in awe because I've been to a lot of places that have spiritual stores, crystal stores, oils, all of that, Laguna Beach, just different cute areas that have that. but they literally had maybe out of 25 stores, like 15 of them were like some sort of spiritual and healing and crystals and different things. And so we were just having a blast and going to dinner and walking around. And then we came home and hung out, and then we went to sleep. And Missy had a room to herself, and I had a room to myself as well. And Lisa was up there with Eden. And so when we came down, I was fine. I didn't feel any energies. And we got up and talked about it in the morning. And I remember Missy said that she felt that her bed moved, like there was like someone like pressing on her bed, and she felt it really strong.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, okay, what was that? But then she just kind of like let it go and went to sleep. And then you guys had, Lisa, you had something crazy with Eden, right?
And I ended up in Missy's bed. So I was going to bed looking for comfort.
Yeah.
But
Goldilocks.
Right. So I started in the bunk bed. I don't know what time it was. I have no idea. All I know is I was awake. I looked at Eden and I saw like to me it appeared to be like a tall cloaked figure like hovering over her. And then do you remember I don't know if I yelled or I go, what's that? Or is that, I said something. Do you
so
remember?
what you did do, we were, I was sleeping, and I feel like it was middle of the night, and all of a sudden I hear you screamed.
Yeah.
And then you yelled, oh, I thought I saw something. And I thought you were talking in your sleep. So I just was like, okay, be quiet. And then I went back to sleep. And then a little bit later, you left the room.
I'm getting the heck out of here, because that man who's in the closet in the other room, he's coming.
You left Eden for the man.
She left the room, and then what happened was I woke up because she left the room, and I just thought, oh, I must be snoring, keeping her up or something. So she left the room. But so then I went back to sleep. A little bit later, I felt something touch my shoulder, and I thought my back was to the door. So I turn over, and as I'm turning over to look, I'm imagining it's going to be Lisa standing there, and I'm like thinking to myself, what the hell does she want now? Because she keeps waking me up. So I turned over, and it wasn't her. It was a big dark black blob of something, tall something, standing over me. Like I didn't know at the time that she had seen it too. And that's what made her leave the room. So I am used to this. This is a normal event in my house. And, just growing up, I've always had these kinds of things. So it didn't scare me. And I'm just like, can I just sleep? Let me sleep. And then I went back to sleep. Whoever you are, let me sleep.
Yeah. And tell the audience, because that's really interesting, because I feel like most people will freak out if they see something, and they either think it's their imagination, or they freak out really bad and think they need like psychiatric help. So what do you do in that? What is that, and what do you do usually? How did you just leave it alone? Like, what do you do?
Well, like I said, a normal occurrence. I've had that happen since I was a little girl. So at first, when I was little, I got really scared, like other people would now. But now it's just it happens so often that I just know that it's probably a loving, friendly energy that is trying to tell me something. And I also figured that in that moment that I'm going to go back to sleep, and when I talk in the morning, I'll tell everyone what happened, and then we'll probably do some channeling and find out what the person wanted. Because typically when we do that, to me, it's never like a bad thing. It's never a negative energy. It's just that they have like maybe unfinished business, or they need help with something, but they're never here to harm us. That's how I take it. So I didn't feel it was bad.
Right. I remember I've had things like that too. And I was watching the documentary with Tyler Henry, and he was talking about how that happens to him as well. And it's usually people with carrying heavy baggage or messages or whatever. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's very hard for him. There was just one time I remember in the house that something like that happened, but it was weird, like dark energy, like shapes, and very obvious. And I ignored it and just let it go. And I remember talking to a mentor of mine at the time who's a shaman, and he goes, "Oh no, yeah, just don't even acknowledge those energies, because sometimes they can be something dark, but if you just leave it alone and ignore it, they go away."
Yeah. Yeah, so I kind of just did that. Woke up in the morning though, and I told all of you guys what happened. And then that's when Lisa shared her side of the story, what happened. And so then that kind of confirmed that was something there. There was really something there. So I think we went back up then to the room to try to reenact and see if, that's what we saw. Yeah. And we didn't see it again. But we did end up finding out a little bit about him because we did channel.
Right. And then I think Missy had said she thought she saw like a woman and like an animal. And so that we realized this house has some haunted energy or just some visitors. It doesn't mean that it's bad. Just like you sometimes stay at an old house and most people have had that experience where they're like, there's energy here, or something went on here. So we had an amazing day. We'll go a little bit more into what we did on those day trips, but we did end up channeling that night to find out what it was. And we did get some messages from Prince, but why don't you first tell the messages about what that visitor was, Eden?
Well, Lisa started it.
Lisa, how did it start?
I didn't start it.
You got the name. You did.
I did?
Yeah.
See, I don't even remember.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
because every one of the four of us has abilities to channel, and to intuitive abilities. So we each sort of contributed in our own ways. But you started off by saying, I mean, I was channeling my normal, what I do, my automatic writing and getting some messages. But then it kind of turned into, you said in the middle of something I was getting, you chimed in and you said, "Who's Stan?"
Yeah.
Yeah, now I remember, because I forget.
Yeah. So we didn't know, none of us knew a Stan. And then I started getting messages about Stan, and just needless to say, Stan was the dark energy. No, I don't want to call him dark energy. He was the black shadow that we saw. And then he kind of gave us a little story about he was a gold miner. And we looked it up online, and they did have the gold mining back then, and that he stayed in this house because he broke his leg, and he lost his job, and he lost his family because he was kind of like an invalid after that. And they left him, and so he just stayed in the house. Am I getting it right? It's been a while.
He said he felt when he was on Earth, he realized that he did not treat his wife right, and he was working too much, and he ignored her and didn't really pay attention to her. So then he became an invalid and kind of had all these realizations, but then they weren't really there for him either, and he was alone and stuff like that. But he just wanted to be acknowledged. And as soon as we were like, okay, we're good with it, hi Stan, thanks for us being in the house, then nothing else weird happened.
And I slept in that bed that night.
Yes.
After that, it was different. Yeah. The energy was different because we acknowledged him. So we continued channeling and getting messages and helping each other and things like that. And one of the really beautiful messages we got, a lot of our listeners know that we get messages from Prince, the artist. And I told Eden, I'm feeling like Prince has a message for us. And she says, okay, I'm getting that we're supposed to go outside and look at the moon. So we all went outside, and right away on the ground, someone had done in cement, "Love God." And I said, oh my God, Prince used to always write that on everything, "Love God." And so we were like, okay, wow, that's already a message. And then we were looking up, and Missy noticed that there was a very bright star with a purple glow around it. And all of us saw it. And then Eden said, I'm getting Orion. And I said, oh my gosh, Prince has a song from the Batman soundtrack called Arms of Orion, which Eden didn't know. And so we ended up all looking at the stars for a long time, and then going in and listening to the song. And the song had a lot of different meanings for all of us. So it was just a really beautiful message that we all got from Prince.
Yeah. Yeah. And he said, that he had a message for us. And then he said to me, have everyone go outside, which is the part you said. But he also said, because you'll see me out there.
Oh
Like I'll
yeah.
meet you out there. And so he gave us all those signs. Yeah.
The purple light too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And then Lisa, you tell us about our crazy hikes and trips to the we're trying to find the fairy falls.
Oh, but okay. So after the water one.
Well, first let's tell them about the water, because that's special.
Mm-hmm.
The special water.
The special.
Remember?
Kim, you tell about the special water.
Well, we wanted to go there. My person that referred us, Yesenia, told us no matter what, and also Issei told us to go. He had just been there as well. Actually, that's kind of crazy because Kiko had just been there. He's been on our show a bunch of times, and then so did Christina Moses, who's been on our show. And we kept hearing different people we know suddenly were going to Mount Shasta, and I had never in my life heard people going there before in this way.
Yeah.
So we got to hear a lot of people raving about how amazing it is, including us. So we went to it's called the City Park, and they have this pure water and little waterfalls and streams and brooks. And you're able to take a thing like that holds water, like a bottle or whatever, and just save the water and use it for healing or for cleansing or clearing energy. And so we definitely did that. And
Missy,
it was like
sorry, Missy had just had knee surgery weeks before we went on the trip. So she used it, she put her whole leg in the water to sort of like heal her knee. And she said it helped her.
Which is interesting. I just thought about that. She was able to do that big crazy hike after she had put her knee in the water.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah.
Because she didn't think she was going to be able to do a big hike.
Yeah.
And it was just like out of a movie because there was this guy selling different sage, different herbs, different things like, CBD or whatever, who knows what else. But he looked totally out of a movie, and he's just sitting there in the middle of the park, like randomly by the water. And it was just interesting. And Missy got some from him, was it sage or it was something an herb you burn
sage,
that,
right?
What'd you say?
I thought it was a type of sage to burn.
It was like sage. Yeah.
She got two different things. It wasn't sage though. It was I forgot what he called it. I don't know. But that was really cool to have that kind of, it was like, like in a movie, like you only see in a movie, and we got to experience that.
Right. And then we tried going to the Fairy Falls, and that, Lisa, so what happened?
Bands. There are people with drums. There was a man in underwear. His underwear was wet, so there was some fall somewhere because.
And we asked him for directions.
Because he was wet, so we figured he knows. He's got wet underwear. He should know. Right? And then did you get a visual, Eden?
I was picturing that, first of all, when we first started the hike, there was a pair of underwear on the ground.
That was underwear.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then And then we saw him halfway up the mountain, practically naked, just with underwear on. And yes.
So I think we kind of thought, like, I know I did. I think I said something like, okay, are there like, is this like a nudist colony? Like, we're going to get up there, a bunch of nude people, like in
the
fairy falls. Like, what are we, right? But, and then we kept veering off, Kim and I kept veering off thinking, okay, this is it. I mean, it was beautiful. It was amazing. The energy was amazing. I think that kept us going, because all of us were ready to turn around, but we were so close. And then of course the phone didn't work, so we couldn't like GPS it, which I think added, because had we known again how far it was, we probably wouldn't have.
We would have given up sooner.
We would have given up. So we all
and there
that mountain. Huh?
There were a few times Lisa and I kept like, we're like, okay, hold on, Missy and Eden, and we kept like kind of going off on weird corners where we thought we could find the falls, and we did see areas of the falls. We just didn't get to the very top. But there was a couple of times where I was like, oh my God, we're going to fall. I'm going to hold on really tight, because it was really thin overlooking the cliff, and we're like climbing right there.
Well, and you know what? And also too, I was thinking like oh no, that was the other one. No, maybe it was that one where the guy said, oh, you could try to drive. Remember? Was it that one or the other one?
It was this one. This one.
Yeah.
Like,
the guy in the van.
No, because it's like, it's gravel and it's narrow. So who's driving?
Yeah.
Our car would have been stuck.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So we never got there.
We saw parts of it though. We did.
Yeah, but we had our bathing suits on. Like, we were ready. We were told there's a little pool there that we'll be able to go in and swim. And we imagined like this, ourselves doing that, swimming underneath the waterfall. And we never got to do that.
Yeah.
So it was a letdown.
It was beautiful, but and there were places people were going in the water, but they were pretty daring to go way up high like that. So yeah. But then we get back to our car, and there were mud handprints in weird shapes all over the car, the rental car. And so I
want to tell large hands.
Yeah, large, and it was also like no, I shouldn't say deformed, but it wasn't like a human hand. It looked a little odd, like long fingers.
Mm-hmm.
And also there were a couple other cars parked in the same spot, and ours was the only one that had these handprints.
So we thought that a lot of people, if you research Mount Shasta, it's kind of like the lost city of Atlantis. There is a city of Lemuria where there are Lemurians, and the story is that way back, like, several 100,000 years ago, the Lemurians fought the city of Atlantis. They had a war, and Lemurians escaped from areas of like the US and Canada all the way to about 25,000 of them escaped and built a 5-story tunnel home type thing under Mount Shasta, and lived like that. And then I guess they became like, once they passed over, they became like spirit nature beings that still stay around Mount Shasta and appear to people that live there. And so we were thinking that those handprints might have been signs from the Lemurians.
Mm-hmm. Well, then we looked it up online. One of you in the back seat looked up the Lemurians and said that they were known to leave handprints.
Right.
You can.
That's good. Huh?
I think that was you. You were reading about it.
Yeah. I read something where they do that. So yeah, that was interesting. And our actually next week's episode, we're going to have Haruko, who we did sound healing with, who does art as well. And she knows a lot about that. So maybe we'll get some more about the Lemurians from her.
Yeah. And I think Missy would be happy if we mention this. She said she had heard, I don't know if it was just days before we left for the trip, she was hearing Lemurians in her head, like a message, but she didn't know what it was about. And then she sort of encountered that when we got there.
Thank you for listening to Talk Purpose and Truth podcast. Find out more at talkpurposeandtruth.com. And follow us at Talk Purpose Truth on Instagram and Facebook.